I'm Wolf from Healing Wolf Coaching, here to roar with you across the savannas of recovery. Let's start by taking in a big breath of courage, deep inhale, filling our lungs, and then we're just going to exhale despair. We're going to let all those negative thoughts just flow away. Today, let's talk about the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This is where exposure therapy actually began, because Buddha talks about this concept, and in the Tibetan Book of the Dead they talk about this concept where when you die, you're plunged into deep darkness, like the kind of darkness that you are likely to be plunged into if you're dealing with chronic pain or anxiety or panic, or any of those kind of neuroplastic sensations. So you're plunged into this darkness. And what happens in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, you die, you're in this darkness, a huge monster comes. Okay? A giant monster, very intimidating, very gruesome, big fangs, horns, flames, like a devil, right? And if you fight that devil, then something will happen where you will actually agitate the devil and the devil will become stronger. But if you surrender to the devil, then this demon, then you become enlightened. You move to the next phase. You're reincarnated in the mythology. You're reincarnated as something more favorable, right? But if you run from that big demon, then you will be plunged back into darkness, and then you'll find another demon. Another demon will find you. It'll be slightly less intimidating, and if you surrender to that one, then you get reincarnated as a little bit less than you would have if you would have just surrendered to the big demon. So the idea here in exposure is exposing yourself to the biggest, most fearful thing that you can imagine, which is usually the pain sensation or the panic attack sensation or insomnia or the gastritis sensation, whatever it is, exposing yourself to that, allowing it, surrendering to it. I don't really like the term surrender. I like allowing because it's more empowered. But according to the myth, you surrender. You let go, you move into a phase of acceptance and allowing, and then you're reborn. And that's the beauty of this exposure model, is that you get to be reborn. And where you're reborn is really contingent upon which demon you surrender to. So for example, if you can surrender to or allow a full-blown panic attack and say, bring it, let's have it, make it big, make it bold, make it so you've got every single sensation, the feeling of falling off a building, I had about 8 months of that, so I know the sensation. It's a surge of adrenaline, all that, and I came through it by this very technique of exposure, allowing, and moving into that sensation with an attitude of like, let's dance. So when you want to get reborn, you want to go into allowing with the biggest, baddest demon. And this is the Tibetan Book of the Dead, but this is also psychology. This is also, that's where psychology gets it. Most of psychology is just repackaged Buddhism anyway. But you have this opportunity when you have a huge flare of chronic pain, or you have a huge flare of panic or anxiety or whatever's come up, you get that opportunity to allow. And it's really a practice where it feels in the beginning as if you're lifting something very heavy. The intensity of allowing is really intimidating, powerful, like a real demon. But over time, if you put yourself in it, even for a few seconds, exposure, then it loses its sting because you become used to it. You become familiar with it. Another way of looking at it would be like going into any kind of new sport. Let's say you want to go surfing. You get knocked by a wave, you get tumbled, you get smashed into the sand. Well, you do that a few times and you kind of get used to it. The first time might be scary, really scary. But then when you pop up and you realize that, yeah, if you relax and allow and you tumble with the energy, then it spits you out. You're closer to shore, you can rest if you want, or you can jump right back in and do it again. So this exposure is a path through the jungle to the other side, to where your sensations of chronic pain or anxiety or panic or whatever you've been dealing with, they can fade, and you can expect those sensations to diminish. It's inevitable. If the fear disappears, those sensations are going to go down. It's a nonlinear journey in most cases, so you may have to face multiple demons. You may have to face some of the small ones, some of the big ones, but make it as fun as you can, make it as interesting as you can, and go boldly into it, screaming like Braveheart or something. Get an attitude that you're going to dance with these sensations. You're going to really expose yourself to them and allow them, and you're going to be reborn. If you need help with any of this, please visit my website, healingwolfcoaching.com. I am a professional coach. I work with rapid resolution therapy and a bunch of other modalities that I learned on my own recovery journey from chronic pain, anxiety, panic, gastritis, arrhythmia, you name it. I've got like a long laundry list of stuff I went through. I was bedbound for about a year. I couldn't really walk or even stand without excruciating pain. So I know this territory well, and I'm ready to help you. I have a free consult call if you'd like to book one of those on my website, and we can chat about the best path forward. I do like to work with folks who I feel are a really good fit. Like we get along, we resonate, we have a connection that really fuels recovery. And it's pretty amazing when your energy and my energy come together, the kind of transformations that are possible. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.